This video is part 2 of the Discord bot, and today we're going to make a MACD function and a RSI charts function on top of our price function. Since this is part 2, I've assumed that you have already made the necessary bots and got your channel ID and bot ID. If you have not done that, go to the first video. So first of all, you're just going to want to pip install pandas TA, NES and Discord. These are not default in Google Colab. Depending on what software you use, you're going to have to pip install all these imports. But if you're using Google Colab, just follow these. For these imports, we're not going to use all of them yet, but later we will. So we're just going to import it now. So Discord, commands Discord ext, yf, ta, pd, json, plt, io, NES async, datetime, and Google Colab import user data for my safety purposes. And Discord token channel ID, you can ignore that unless you're trying to post your code online as well. And NES_async.apply is just to get rid of the bugs that Google Colab always has with async. And first of all, bot equals commands bot. Command prefix is just they're gonna check the text when there's a exclamation mark in front of your text, and then Discord insets all is just going to see all of your stuff. And the on ready and the price, last video we've already talked about that, so we're just going to skip that and go straight onto the MACD. So the MACD bot.command, basic syntax, we get CTX symbol string. So depending on what they choose, you're going to get that MACD. And try means that if it fails, you're going to go to accept. Stock equals YF ticker, so you're going to download a series onto stock, and the stock.history is a way to find the period of 3 months before today. So we're getting a period of prices of 3 months. MACD data equals ta.macd. ta.macd is a function of pandas TA, which automatically calculates the MACD for us, and his close is just the data we have to put in for it to calculate the MACD. And latest equals MACD data.ilog -1. So we're just going to take the last one, which is now. And MACD line. The reason we're typing MACD 12.26.9 is to show how we want the MACD to be calculated with a 12 period, 26 period, and a 9 period. This will let us get our own MACD, and the float is just to make sure that it's a float and to avoid string formatting issues. Now the status, we're going to use that later. Status if MACD line over signal line else bearish. That's the basic of a MACD line. And the embed equals discord.embed. The embed is sort of a more better message. So the message is like a box, and you're going to see later that it's better than a text message. So the title symbol.upper depends on the user, MACD, and that's just a color, right? MACD.add field, MACD line, we already know that. And the dot for F is just to make sure that we only get 4 significant figures. Inline equals true, so that means we put them on one line and not separate. And the embed.add field, we got signal line, histogram, and finally we have the signal, which is value equals status. Just now we made that. Inline false, so we're going to have 3 in the line and 1 under. And await ctx.send, so we're going to just send this embed. And await ctx.send if we're wrong, and then we're just going to ask, have you typed the symbol correctly? Now we move on to the hard part of this video, which is the RSI charts. So before we do that, we're just going to make a few functions. And the first one is calculate RSI, ta.rsi, you already know that, and the length equals 14, so we're calculating 14 days. The clean data for plotting is to avoid having flat lines on weekends because the market is closed. You wouldn't want your graph to suddenly have a straight line in the middle and then go back and then straight line in the middle. That would look weird. So the data.index day of the week, this is a function of the date time we have just imported. And less than 5, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until Friday. So only these 5 days. And between time 4 and 20, that's when the market is online, and we just want the data between those times so that we won't have any flat lines. And the clean.drop NA means that we're just going to drop any rows that have 0. Now we move on to the last part bot.command async def RSI charts symbol string data in equals 2, so it's default 2 days. Now the ticker equals the symbol.upper plus empty string if equal in symbol else empty string. This will handle futures because they have equals in there. And then df equals stock.history period days interval 5m and pre-post equals false. So the interval 5m means we're taking 5-minute candles of the days, and pre-post equals false means that we're only taking regular hours. So now if df.empty, so that means if df is empty, right, they're going to say that there's no data for the symbol and then return and then retry again. But if there is, we're going to go down and df equals calculate RSI, df equals clean data for plotting, so we just use our own functions just now. Df equals drop na just in case again, and the await ctx.send if it's empty again. Now df equals df.reset index to make sure that everything aligns with the dates. We don't want any misaligned data. Now we're making a new column called time index pd.series range of len. So depending on how long is the len df, we're going to make the time index as long as that as well. And the index will also equals to df.index, making it a date. Now after calculating everything, we're going to plot it now. So plt.figure, we already did that. Plt, we imported that. Fig size 18.6 because sometimes people might ask for 20 days. And plt.plot, df index, time index, we know that that's how we plot, it's x and y. And we're going to make the color blue to make it more poppy. If datetime is in the df columns, which it should be, the unique dates will equals to the datetime.unique, and the date positions will equals to this new thing that converts our time index into actual dates for date and unique dates. And we're going to have these new column that acts as plt.xticks. So now we're going to actually plot these new dates onto our graph and not have our time index be put on there. So final few left. The plt.axh line is just a horizontal line, and the 70, 30, 50 is just the values of the RSI overbought, sold, and neutral, and color red, green, gray to make it look more easier. And the line style, this is just a customized style. You can do your own, and the alpha makes it less visible. The plt.title is depending on the symbol and the days. plt.y label is on the left, so it's RSI value, and the plt.legend is to show which line is which. plt.grid to make it look more easier, and then the alpha equals 0.3 to make it less visible, and the plt.y lim is to make sure that our graph only has 100 as the maximum and 0 as the minimum. So we're almost done, and current RSI equals to df RSI.ilog -1, which is the latest data entry. plt.annotate is just that we want to put a label onto the graph. The current equals to the current RSI that we just got. The xy of the annotation will be the time index.ilog and the current RSI. The xy text, so the label text, will be to the right because the xy coordinates is 10 and 10. And the text chords, that's just another function. The box of the label is box style, that's just another function as well, and the color will be yellow. Alpha is to make it a bit transparent, and the arrow props is another function to show what kind of arrow we want the label to be pointing to our dataset. To save more bytes of Discord, we're just going to use buf equals io.bytes.io, which we just imported. And the plt.savefig is just to save our image, our plot, as a PNG with a DPI of 100, and we're just going to seek 0 plt.close. We're closing that, and we're going to send this file to Discord with a file name of whatever RSI underscore symbol.png, and we're going to create an embed with additional info so that we don't just have a graph, we also have text under it. And the price data will equal to the stock.info if HASATDR stock info, else will be a empty dictionary. And the current price will equals to the price data.get, we're just going to get that, the current price, and also the regular market price NA. So we're going to create the embed now. The embed equals to discord.embed, create the title, RSI analysis, and create our description, current RSI and the price. The color is just going to be that again, and if the current RSI is neutral, so it's lower than 70 but higher than 30, we're just going to have that color, else it's going to change another color. and the if RSI is over 70. So if it's overbought, we're just going to make the signal a customized one, which is showing that it's overbought, and we're also going to have the inline equals false. Same thing for oversold and also neutral, so that it pops out more and looks better. Now we're going to use the image that we just saved as set_image, and just now the same thing as well, attachment, and then yes, now the set footer would be equals to that, so it's the footer of our image, data, Yahoo Finance, days, and 5-minute intervals, and we're just going to send that file out, and embed equals to embed. And if there's an error message, we're just going to accept exception as E, and error message equals to string E. And to make the error messages a bit more user-friendly and readable, we're just going to, if no data in that error message, we're just going to kind of interpret that out. And same thing for rate limit, unless we don't know, and we're just going to send the whole thing out with 100 characters as the limit. And finally, the most important part, we're just going to have bot.run. So now you should be able to run it with your own bot code and channel ID, and you should see it in your Discord. If you don't, you should follow each steps and try them out and copy them. And if it still doesn't work, you can go back to the first video and try it out yourself. So this is just part 2. I might make part 3 with a scanner bot, but this is a simple bot that kind of shows you how people can make their own stock bots, and how can you make your own stock bot as well, and to gain inspiration for what you want to make. Any suggestions or questions are welcomed. You should just type it in the comments. Thank you.